You're listening to Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong, all on Georgia Radio Network.
Welcome to episode 142 of the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast. I am the guy with the face for radio, Dave Roberts. With me is the brains of the operation, writer, TV personality, Jessica Szilagyi.
Hello.
How was your week?
Ugh, God, it's freaking terrible.
No kidding.
Right. The end. That's the end of this show's week. This week. We'll see you guys next week.
we got a 1 minute show. Everything sucks and everybody's awful.
Yes.
We do want to mention Big Daddy Unlimited, the sponsor for the show. Big Daddy Unlimited is your source for guns, accessories, short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns. If you buy a serialized firearm, you just have it shipped to your local gun store, go fill out the paperwork, and walk out with it. If you buy an accessory, a flashlight, anything else that goes along with firearms, you have it shipped right to your door. Big thanks to Big Daddy Unlimited. You probably do want to join now as the demand for firearms is going up. Jessica, no 2 cents on that one?
I mean...
Well, let's go ahead and get into it. The presidential election.
I mean, it's changing by the hour.
It is, and as we record, it's still up in the air. But it sure does seem like it's being stolen.
How can you... So, at this point, it doesn't even matter if there was fraud or not, or if you can prove the fraud or not. The problem is that a lot of people believe that happened, and so there's no trust in the process, and the perception of the terribleness is enough to just... I mean, it's just terrible. Like, we have no faith and trust in our free and fair elections.
Well, because they're not free and fair.
True.
Why is it when they find ballots, it's always Democrat ballots?
That's a great question, Dave.
To which there is no answer. But look, POTUS doesn't really matter to me. I voted Trump. But you know, the Senate obviously is more important because they will, you know, obviously Mitch McConnell will become Paul Revere if Biden is elected. And as we're watching this, they just called Arizona, so it's done. And I even said last night, look, if Biden is the president, I will absolutely extend my hand and offer him.
Hopefully you'll wear a glove.
A rubber glove.
Well, COVID, I mean.
But yeah, I would absolutely extend my hand and say, well, let's do the best we can to move our country along.
I don't want to move our country along. I want to go backwards.
Well, so do I. I want to go backward to damn Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I don't even know. You know, if they just called Arizona, that's it. And of course, we're recording on Friday. If anyone can't figure that out, but if Arizona just went Biden, that's it. We have a President Biden coming in. I'm sorry, President Harris.
Ugh, God.
So what do we call her? Is she going to be the first female president, first Indian American president, or first black?
No, none of those, because she didn't. Even if he dies and she becomes president, I understand that that's like the process and of succession and everything, but she didn't earn it. So technically, like, they just had to give it to her because she couldn't win.
Well, no. Look, Johnson was president. I mean,
but he didn't win.
Well, I mean, he did the second time, but he was still the president. So as long as we're doing identity politics, I mean, I'm not sure where we check her boxes.
Next to the cuss words.
Well, I can get with that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when you look at the map and you see the red across the middle, it is amazing. And there's a huge divide in this country. And I don't know that it's changed, but there's a huge divide in this country. You know, you see blue on the left, you see blue on the right, and then you see just red across the middle. And that's huge. You know, that's the soul of America in the middle is absolutely red.
I think you mean to say the soul of America is red where it wasn't stolen.
Well, there you go. No, absolutely it's stolen. I mean, look, let me go ahead and say this. These are our opinions and not necessarily those of All in Georgia, and certainly not those of any All in Georgia reporter not offering commentary on the show, and not those of our sponsor, Big Daddy Unlimited. Big thanks to them. There's no way. Yeah, absolutely. To go to sleep one night and wake up and have a state turn. Man. JoJo didn't pull that many. You know, she didn't swing the election. For Biden to be leading in Georgia, you know, as I'm looking at it right now, 43,000 in Arizona, 11,000 in Nevada, 6,000, almost 7,000 in Pennsylvania. You know, they keep finding ballots. Man, I don't know. And I really don't want this show to be a bummer, but it kind of is this week.
I mean, the way that, so on Tuesday night I had like a glimmer of hope that it wasn't, and don't get me wrong, like I did not vote for Donald Trump. I've been pretty clear about that, but I would have preferred a Trump presidency over Biden because I'm not an idiot. And on Tuesday night, I had a little bit of hope, and then what's been frustrating is watching this unravel in slow motion. Like we've watched it slowly tick away from clear and concise leads and victories to closeness that if it was the reverse, wouldn't, I mean, it's just not possible. And if you even ask questions or say that just doesn't seem right to me, people are like, wow, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Well, it's not even being a conspiracy theorist. I mean, it's common sense. There's just no way. You know, when you start talking about states like Georgia, and you look at the Senate races, let me ask you, who in the hell voted Biden and then voted David Perdue? I can understand voting Trump and then voting Shane Hazel, which is what I did. Mm-hmm. I understand that. But who in the hell voted Biden and then voted for David Perdue? The numbers don't make sense. And that's a statewide race. So the same people that would be voting for Trump in the state are the same people that would have been voting for David Perdue. And who in the hell did that?
Probably David Perdue's wife.
Maybe. And look, we're going to be fine. The country will be fine. Even with Joe Biden, we'll be fine. Even with Harris, we'll be fine. The Senate most likely is going to stay in Republican control, and it will be fine. I'm not telling everybody to commit suicide quite yet. You know, we're going to be okay. But when I have to look at something and question the results, that's a problem. And when I look at these results and I question the validity, that's a problem. And I don't know where we come from here.
Well, I've never understood, and you know, there's been talk already of why don't we privatize this and why don't we privatize that for our elections and everything, which is not the answer. I mean, to me, it's like justice reform and those things, like it's too important. Like, and how are you going to decide the bidding process? We already have a huge problem with the voting machine process and all of that. So I don't think privatization is the answer or even a conversation to be had. But that said, you know, why do people believe that the government does nothing right, but they believe they routinely get this right? And how can you advocate for nonpartisan secretaries of state and board of elections and all this crap, and then when your side wins say, well, we don't need that? I mean, it's just, the inconsistency is disgusting to me. Just like for for 2 years we've listened to Stacey Abrams and Fair Fight and all of her spineless, thoughtless minions. We've listened to them complain about voter suppression, and all of a sudden that's not on the table anymore because they won.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We only have voter suppression when my side loses. Look, I saw this coming with the mail-in voting.
Of course.
Absolutely a recipe for fraud. And I'm not saying that there was fraud. I'm just saying the mail-in ballots are a problem. And I even said last week, it used to be for an absentee ballot, you needed a reason. I'm elderly. I'm going to be out of town. I'm deployed. Some reason. And the fact that there were 60% of the electorate mailed in a ballot.
I don't know if you saw, I did like a little, I always try to do just like an article on my local government stuff on just like numerical facts, I guess, of the election, like who voted early, who voted in person, all this. Democrats in Georgia's 12th congressional district voted 400%, at a rate of 400% higher than they did on election day. That's phenomenal.
That's huge.
Yes. And Republicans voted early as well, but only by, oh gosh, I should know this because I typed it out. It was not, I think it was like 130% maybe. I don't recall now, but it was nothing close to 400, which is my whole point. Like, and of course they lost Georgia 12 because we're a Republican congressional district right now, thanks to gerrymandering and all other things. But Republicans were voting totals and early voting were 230% of election day totals, where Democrats were 400. And so again, you know, like you said, you used to have a reason, and we had the whole conversation about God help us if people would have been told no because they were scared to vote in the pandemic and all this other crap. But the reality is, Democrats won in early voting, and they won by absentee. If they won on election day, we would have known that Trump was going to be the president on Tuesday night because of the machines. but we were here counting absentees.
Right. Ah, man. When I saw that Fulton County had a flood and they couldn't count their ballots that night, I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, it's not like Scriven County had a problem. That some little county like that, it would have, like, oh, okay. But when Fulton County says, oh, we had a flood, we've got to recount these votes, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Right.
And to swing Georgia's big. I don't just mean the 16 electoral votes. I mean, Georgia's a big one to swing. This state hasn't gone Democratic since 1992.
And they're already
since you were in diapers.
I wasn't in diapers at age 4.
At age 4. Screw you. I didn't vote in that race. I did vote in the 96 race. Not quite that old, but yes, I did vote for Dole. But it's man, I don't. It doesn't track with what I'm seeing with the people I interact with. And look, I interact with Republicans, Democrats. I don't. I'm not a. I don't walk into echo rooms. I mean, I interact with a lot of people, and it doesn't track with who I'm interacting with. So, let's get on to some good news. Jackie Johnson.
Can we come back to that one, because I really want to be excited, and right now you've got me in my mood. Like, let's we'll come back to that in like 5 minutes. Let's ease into that. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Well, listeners, just know we warm up for an hour before we actually record.
Yes, but you just changed my mood.
We were in a really good mood before this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's yeah. When they call was it Arizona? I don't even remember now. While we're on the show, like, I'm sure you heard that Eric's gonna have to mute or bleep what I muttered under my breath while you announced that. I mean, damn.
Yeah, look, I don't think the lawsuits on this one are going to bring Trump out. And look, I'm not super Trump guy. I'm not a Trumper. I voted for him, mostly because he's been good for my bottom line. But what I'm seeing here is, I mean, they're absolutely stealing this election. Again, these are our opinions, not necessarily those of all on Georgia. This is absolutely being stolen.
Before our eyes.
Right. And you made the best observation is it's being done slowly as we're watching this. So those who are keen observers were watching this. We're watching very slowly as this is being stolen. And it's not that I think that Joe Biden's a bad guy or anything else. It's that this is being stolen. I mean, it's obvious. When they find ballots in boxes that, we forgot about these. Sorry, Eric. But yeah, we found a stack over here. We found a stack over there. Oh, there was something. We have some ballots in the back of a car.
Yeah. And what do you know? It's one more than what we needed.
Right. It's just enough to get the result we want. And for Georgia, I mean, like I said, for Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona, Pennsylvania to all go blue.
Just in case.
Right.
Child, please.
I mean, if you've ever been to Arizona, Arizona is the West. I mean, I have a hard time believing that 43,500 people, more than Trump, voted for Biden. I've been to Arizona. It's the West. You know, this isn't, you know, voting for Johnson. It's not voting for Kennedy. This is, I mean, Arizona is vastly independent. And I have a hard time believing that, you know, nearly 45,000 people over Trump voted for him. And, you know, as I went to bed last night, the number wasn't that damn big.
Every night we've gone to bed, the numbers aren't like that. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, okay.
What in the hell happened?
Exactly. Again.
Yeah, I mean, I hit the power button on the TV, like cringing, like, oh, what's going on?
Sucks.
Again, sorry, Eric.
I'm not. You should have known that this was going to be like more bleeps than words. This, I mean.
Yeah, he's going to have to do some work on this one. Well, let's go ahead and move on to Jackie Johnson, your favorite person.
Woo! She lost.
Was it ever, I mean, even a thought that she wouldn't?
So, yes, I think there's been people who have pledged to support her, and then no matter what, and then you had the whole Republican thing. I mean, the loyalty because Keith Higgins was an independent, and I think that obviously helps him considerably because he truly, I mean, his campaign motto was justice for all, and he had support from Republicans publicly, and he had support from Democrats publicly, and they knew that he had to carry Glenn County, which was the biggest county, and then he had to carry it strong, and then all he had to do was hold his own in the other counties, and he did lose all of the other 4 counties, but the first Glenn County votes came in, and I mean, my heart was like fluttering because he was up by like 20 or 30,000 votes. I'm like, oh God, yes, please don't make it be this much of a landslide. It was like 68% in his favor. And of course that narrowed, and there were like 2 precincts that were still out, for like an hour, and the margin had whittled down to about 5,000, and the last one came in, and I think the total was just over 4,100. And of course, I was home working. Everyone of my friends down there was down at the party, the watch party, and I was yelling in my house. I was so excited. The dogs were running around because they didn't know what was going on either. But I mean, it's just one of those things. Like I'm super disappointed about what's going on at the national level and just the continued divide and all of that crap. But it is a true victory because not only did he have to get signatures to get on the ballot, he got almost double of what he needed. He door knocked. He went to every event that was public during the freaking pandemic. And he still beat a 10-year incumbent who was appointed by Purdue and had the support of the insiders down there and all the sheriffs and all the other crap, and she's gone. And the only thing that I truly believe this, the only thing that was standing between her and action by the DOJ and the U.S. Attorney's Office was the fact that she was still elected, and that's coming to a close.
Yeah, she's human garbage.
Yes.
I mean, she absolutely is human garbage.
But it was the most beautiful grassroots takedown there ever was. And of course, it would not have happened without the Arbery case. And it's a travesty and it's gut-wrenching to still think about, even if you don't, whatever you think of the case, just how poorly it was handled. But there are so many others like that. And had that not gotten the attention that it did, she would have won.
Yeah, the incumbent next to your name is very, very strong. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I don't know why people tend to vote for the incumbents, but they do.
Because they're stupid.
Yeah, tell us what you really think, Jess.
Well, listen, it's been a tough, but
no,
she needed to go. She had no reason to stay. She could not prove to anyone. She not only could she not refute all the claims made about her, the months and months and months of awful conflict of interest and mishandling and sending innocent people to prison. I mean, all of these things. Not only could she not refute those things, she couldn't tell us anything she did.
Besides being an awful human being.
Well, and she didn't have to tell us. We could see that on our own. So.
Oh no, she's garbage. I mean, she's absolutely garbage. She's done the wrong thing every time it was presented. If you go to a fork in the road, left and right, she chose the wrong road every single time. She's just absolute garbage, and you're lucky to be rid of her. I mean, I know I shouldn't say things like, this prosecutor's garbage, but she is. But we have 5 Republican district attorneys that all defeated. Jackie Johnson's hoe ass, as I read your writing. Savannah Meg Harp. Heap. Cobb Joyette Holmes, appointed after Kemp, after Vic pulled for the GBI. We've got Natalie Payne in Augusta.
Mm-hmm. And Danny Porter in Gwinnett. And Gwinnett, I don't think surprised anyone just because it's been trending blue for so long. I mean, honestly, the other ones I can point to some, and Cobb as well, although Joyette, she was the one that was appointed in the Arbery case by Kemp because she was a black woman, and she was appointed to serve in that capacity after, like you said, Vic was pulled to run the GBI. And so, there's a bunch of different things in play here, but I think it sends a message that needs to be heard, because some of these areas are not trending blue, and Jackie Johnson is obviously an outlier. But I think that Republicans need to listen to the fact that people on both sides of the aisle are open to justice reform and don't look at everything as tough on crime. Yes, when there is a clear and convincing case with evidence that somebody has murdered somebody or raped somebody or anything else, yes, we want tough on crime and law and order. But otherwise, we don't want the justice system we don't want it to run on statistics and 99% conviction rates and just statistics. We want, we want to consider discretion and circumstances and the way that circumstances influence outcomes. And I think that they need to listen to that, or they need to be prepared to lose more district attorney's offices.
Well, I can tell you the happiest district attorney in Georgia is mine.
Oh,
Dick Donovan.
You mean, the guy who, whatever, freaking idiots.
The guy that has his nameplate says himself. It says district attorney himself. Yeah. So he won't get another term, but he is the happiest man in Paulding County that COVID came through, because there was a movement to remove him from office till COVID came through. And he won't run again.
You don't think?
But he gets his 10 years in January. So he gets his retirement. So the movement was to remove him from office before he got his 10 years. Then COVID happened. He's such a damn dirtbag. He really is. I mean, yeah, any of the listeners can go look up the stuff that Matt Lowe released, the tapes and stuff. He's such a dirtbag. He really is. And again, these are our opinions, and not necessarily those of All in Georgia.
But they're pretty good opinions.
Yeah. Well, what I say is fact. What about state house upsets?
Well, drum roll, please. Lucky us. Brett Harrell, who was in Gwinnett, got defeated. He lost by over 5,000 votes, which brings me great joy because I'm not a huge fan of the term rhino, but Republican in name only for those of... It's actually RINO. It's not RHINO, just so some of you need to hear that.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, but anyway, if there ever was a rhino, his name is Brett Harrell. The guy is like the least... He ran in 2010 because he was mad about T-Splost and he was mad about taxes. And he thought that we were taxed enough already. And when he was the chair of, it's escaping me. The freaking tax committee in the House. What's it called? I don't know, but he sponsored every tax bill and advocated for the online marketplace legislation. And I mean, all he's done is raise taxes in the state of Georgia. So I'm super happy to see his ratchet ass go.
His ratchet ass go.
Mm-hmm.
State Minority Leader Bob Trammell.
I'm a little disappointed about this one. I really like Bob as a human being, of course, and I really like him as a legislator because, and of course they drew his district, and I mean, this has been in the making. This was intentional, but he's a very reasonable Democrat. Of course, he supports some things that I definitely don't support, but he always listens and he always stood up for what he believed in. And he was in the Rules Committee, obviously. So when bills would be presented to go to the floor, he would stand up and say, you know, this isn't right and this is why. And he was a huge advocate for justice reform and like the bills that we talked about with Jeff Mullis wanting to change whether or not people could appear in person before judges and things, where Jeff Mullis wanted to get rid of that. Bob Trammell was the reason that bill failed in the House and didn't move. I mean, he was a real force. Again, there were a lot of things I didn't agree with him on, don't agree with him on, however you want to. But in terms of, like, I respected in a place where speaking up and voicing your opinion and then having a reason to have that opinion where that's so unpopular, he was routinely that person. And so I think it's a loss because no body is good. No, like, governing body is good when everybody either thinks the same or doesn't speak up.
Well, that's true. That's true. How about Becky Price?
Well, you skipped one. I just want to mention that Deborah Silcox in Atlanta, my old House district, she lost. Too bad. She's the one who went up during the heartbeat bill and sobbed at the podium and said that she couldn't believe that she was going to do this. She was hysterical, like she was snotting all over the microphone and stuff, and said that she was super pro-life, but she was going to vote for the heartbeat bill because her constituents wanted it. And I've always struggled with that because, we're supposed to be representative. Like, we elect people because of their views. We don't elect people to take our views there. We elect them based on their views, and she abandoned them. I don't really care if I agree with her or not. It's the fact that she let her I don't know.
She was pro-choice. Pro-choice.
No,
right?
She was pro-life.
She's pro-life.
Her district is Democrat, and so she voted against the heartbeat bill.
Again.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And so that to appease her constituents. And again, like, irrespective of what you believe on that, like, hello, do you have principles? Like, hold on to them. So she kind of deserved to lose, in my opinion.
Oh, sure. Sure. You can't you can't stand at two pools. You just can't. If you're pro-life, that's it. I'm pro-life. I'm going to vote pro-life, and I'm a pro-life guy. How do you justify voting against something that's pro-life unless you give me like some real explanation of why it's not legal? And look, the heartbeat bill. Yeah, the heartbeat bill. There are reasons to vote against the heartbeat bill. One would be it's going to cost the state a bunch of money to defend. And if she came out and said, I voted against it because it's going to cost us a fortune to defend, I can respect that.
Yeah.
Especially after Alabama beat, hold my beer. And right after Georgia passed its heartbeat bill, Alabama beat, went one more.
Yeah,
and that would be an explanation that I could take.
Right, because you're holding on to your principles, but you have a reason why you don't think it's in the best interest of, like, it's not fiscally responsible or whatever. I mean, but she's not fiscally responsible, so it doesn't really matter. But
right, yeah, that's exactly it. Fiscally responsible is these are my values, but I'm not going to vote for this because it's going to cost us a fortune. And I could totally sign on with that, but she obviously has no values.
Right. And so I saw, not only was her district trending, but you kind of saw this one coming. Like, the worst thing you can do in a district that fluctuates and waivers like this is not stay true to who you are, because then people remember you didn't stay true.
Right. Well, how about Sharon Cooper, Ed Seltzer, and Cobb squeaked through with less than 1,000 votes?
Well, now you're skipping again. I do want to talk about Betty Price. So she tried to take her seat back and she lost. So that's good because she didn't deserve to win. Because that's all I had to say. I just want to make sure that I just really want to spike that ball.
I'll let you host.
No.
But we do have Sharon Cooper and Ed Seltzer who squeaked through with less than 1,000 votes each.
Yeah, I think that was... Cobb is trending blue, so I think before long it'll be just like Gwinnett.
Fulton. Yeah.
Well, that's Sharon and Ed are in Cobb.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It'll be like Fulton.
Oh, yes, yes.
The people that are moving into Cobb are moving out of Fulton. They're moving out of Buckhead and into South Cobb County. And I'm not talking about like, that South Cobb. I'm talking about like the southeast area of Cobb County. Those folks are moving in, and it has a lot to do with tax policy. It has a lot to do with the fact that Cobb gives I can't remember, it's 65 or whatever it is, tax exemption on the schools. So a lot of people are moving into Cobb from Buckhead. And of course, they don't move and change their values. They move and bring their values with them.
Right.
It's the same thing that's happening in Georgia overall, especially with the film industry.
Oh, we recruited all of these liberals here to do this. The Republicans did this to themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely they did. Is they look, Brad and Angelina are not going to live in Georgia. Excuse me. But the grips, the lighting guys, everybody else that works on the movies do move here permanently. So all those guys bring their California values with them. And that's really what we're seeing. So every time you see Kemp and everybody else pounding their chest about bringing jobs to Georgia, bringing the movie industry to Georgia, that's what they're doing. Sorry, I sound like I've got the COVIDs.
Well, do you?
I don't think so. I don't think so. If I'm not here next week, you'll know I'm dead.
Correct.
All right, state Senate upsets. Republican Senator P.K. Martin lost in Gwinnett.
He did. Again, I don't know how much is his fault versus how much is his district. I'll give it 50-50 on each end just because he wasn't that great. But
well, there you go. I mean, yeah, Gwinnett has been changing for years. It's been turning blue for years. I mean, I remember when I lived there 25 years ago. I mean, it's been going that way for years. Well, this brings us to the big race, Purdue.
Purdue.
And our boy, Shane Hazel.
Woo!
He pulled like 2.5%. And that was enough to probably keep either one from getting 50% plus one.
You know, the Purdue people are so pissed.
Of course they're pissed. But here's the thing. And we talked about it last week. This is exactly what I wanted. They deserve this for not involving him in the debates. They deserve this for not polling with his name.
Yeah, of course.
He pulled 2.5% and he spent exactly zero. And, you know, I voted for Hazel.
Right.
It's not even a protest vote. After talking to him, like we did a couple weeks ago, I really, really, really like him.
You voted someone because that was your beliefs?
Exactly. I know. That's a strange thing.
Well, I'll be darned.
But I voted for Shane Hazel. I didn't vote against anybody else. I voted for Shane Hazel. And he is very, even for a Marine. I mean, I know he eats crayons, but he is so well spoken. He knows his values, and he is. I voted for him. Now, and the fact that now he's forcing a runoff, in my mind, means that these parties are going to have to start addressing libertarians.
No, they're already blaming us for everything.
Well, it's not even that. You need to start involving them in the debates. This is obvious. This shows you that, you know, they're here. The libertarians are here, and you're going to have to address them. And enforcing the runoff with this, there was no, they didn't even address Shane at all. Even to insult him, they didn't send anything out to insult him. They just ignored him, and he pulled enough to force a damn runoff.
No, I know.
He should be doing victory laps. In fact, he should moderate the next damn debate between those two assholes.
Oh, God. Neither one of them would show up. Oh, wait. Purdue didn't show up to the other ones anyway.
Well, there you go. But wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
We could turn on ABC and there's Shane Hazel sitting at the moderator's table asking him questions about liberty and neither one understanding the concept.
What do you mean individual? When you say individual freedom, what do you mean?
All right, so we got Loeffler. Whew. So I guess the appointed Twiggy is going to go to the runoff.
I mean, I guess I'm not surprised.
Man, I don't know.
I did think Doug Collins was going to do better, but obviously Doug Collins also thought he was going to do better, and he only got 20% of the vote.
Yeah, he thought he was going to do better. Yeah, I would think so.
I'm just saying. Oh, God.
So, Warnock, it looks like Warnock and Loeffler will go to a runoff.
And it will rely
who knows how that
entirely on turnout.
Oh yeah, yeah, and the turnout will be like 30 people because it's a runoff.
But so here's the thing: if any of our PSC races go to runoffs, which they very well could, that will be in December because they're state elections. These will be in January. These Senate race runoffs, and for the January race, people can register to vote again as long as they register by December 7th, I think. Which is nuts.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Man. You want to call that one?
No.
No?
No.
I think it goes Loeffler.
I mean, Republicans are going to be fired up. Like, let's just face it. I mean...
Yeah, I think Perdue wins. I think Loeffler wins. I mean, there's Warnock ran a great race, and he pulled a bunch, but Loeffler's going to kill him in the runoff.
Well, she's got enough money.
She does have enough money.
Burn, baby, burn.
And she's tall and good looking like I am. So, I mean, we tend to do better than most people. So we got the constitutional amendments. Amendment 1.
Which was the fee allocation one. You know, with making sure that it doesn't just go to the general fund, that it goes where it's supposed to. Lucky for everybody on the show, I cut off the percentages when I copy pasted the results. So I don't know. Dave, you can help with your math. But I mean, overwhelmingly, it was actually the most people voted in favor of that one.
And you know what? It was probably news to everyone who read that amendment that that's not what happened. It's like, really?
Sure.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the money's supposed to go where it's supposed to go.
You mean the legislature
okay.
passed a law and said that the money was supposed to go there and they didn't do it, and now we have to make it a constitutional amendment? Okay. You know?
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening. So, number 2.
Sovereign immunity.
Passed overwhelmingly.
Yeah, but don't be surprised that 1.1 million Georgians either didn't understand it and cast a vote anyway, or think that we shouldn't be allowed to sue the government. So that would be like, you know, all of the people who are elected, all of the people, their families, anyone who works for a state agency, all the DFAX employees, all those people. That would be who would be in that 1.17 million.
Yeah, but the good news is it did pass.
Sure.
And, I mean, and well. This was not a nail biter.
Right. They never are.
So, I mean, that's true. I mean, referendums rarely fail. And then the third.
That thing about...
where you and I voted no.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the most people... More people... Okay, so more people skipped the sovereign immunity question than the other two. The most votes on a ballot question was the first one about fees, and the third one, which was probably because it was the most confusing, was in the middle with 4.6 million votes, but more people voted against that one than any of the others, which does please me greatly.
Well, it passed anyway.
Well, sure. I mean, I would expect nothing less.
Well, they're written to get passed. I mean, that's the way they're written. You know, I am very happy about Amendment 2. It pleases me greatly about sovereign immunity, but when's the last time something failed that the government writes?
Opportunity Schools was the last one, but then they came back and just did it in legislation anyway. That was in 2016.
That's what they do. Jessica, I am very excited to get to your final thought.
I hope everyone has a nice week.
For everyone listening, her final thought is F everyone.
I'm just very mad today. I wasn't mad all week, but I am very mad today because I don't like gloating. I mean, everyone should gloat about Jackie Johnson. That's different. But I don't like it, and I don't like how it's all played out, and I don't like Republicans blaming libertarians, and I don't like Democrats. I mean, last night Republicans were blaming Democrats for stealing it, and today they're blaming libertarians for voting their principles. They called us smug and all this. I'm just over it. Ugh.
You are smug.
Well, it's hard when you're this right all the time. Kathy.
Turd. No, when I scrolled down through the notes and saw F everyone, I'm like, oh, Jessica's in a mood.
Yeah.
Hey, mine is we're going to have a special guest next week, so be sure to tune in. Please do interact with us on social media. I think Facebook's the only thing that I'm on, but if you're not following Jessica, you're really missing out because the comment section is where it's at. I mean, that is so much entertainment just to go through her comment section. So for Jessica Szilagyi, for Eric Cumby, our editor, I'm Dave Roberts. Have a great week.